ثبت قلوبنا على دينك. اللهم إنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
On the 8th of February 1984, a young chief observes what was an unusual occurrence, a fleet of government vehicles arriving unannounced in his locality to visit the then district commissioner. Years later, and Bishar Ismail, the Wagala area chief, now an old man, would give this as the happenings 2 days before the Wagala massacre. We follow in his footsteps back in time when he allows us to visit him at his humble home in this remote village in Wajir, a man who 26 years later vividly remembers the events as they occurred before and after the 10th of February 1984, but who, even after 26 years, is still unable to answer one question: why?
No, I never knew anything. I never knew that anything would happen, but not. It was a new issue to me. I asked, I tell, what is wrong? And I was told these guys are coming to discuss about the security.
He hands over this copy to us, a copy of the visitor's book at the district commissioner's office that details such high-end officials as having visited between the 8th and the 10th of February. Officials of the military, including the then Brigadier Joseph Kibwana, the then Minister of Foreign Affairs Bethwel Kiplagat, and then Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs David Miraria, as well as other top brass government officials and Wajir District Security Committee members. Details of that meeting, however, remain secret to date. KTN unable to establish whether the meeting had something to do with the next day's occurrences or was just a routine visit to the area by senior government officials to discuss other government matters.
The following day, on the 9th, while that time I was at Wagala, I saw a lot of people ferried with the military vehicles, including police vehicles and other military. The military commandant was addressing the public. He told them that the Godia today is for a fight between the Godia and the government. You have guns, you couldn't bring the guns, you are going to bring the guns, or the government is going to stand action against you.
It remains unknown how many people of the Degodia community, a small clan of the Somali, died as a result of the massacre, the government having given 365 as the official total number of those said to have been killed as a result of the massacre, a number that continues to differ with that we received from the locals here, including the chief.
I believe the dead bodies, the people who were killed at that place, are not less than 3,500. The people who were rounded up there were about 5,000. So not less than 3,500.
Serikali wanasema tumeua 57 na sisi tunajua sio 57.
For Commissioner Fatma Ibrahim, the knife of the Wagala massacre has left a lifelong wound in her heart, having lost more than 4 of her family members. Years later, and a commissioner of the Kenyan National Commission on Human Rights remains frustrated by the efforts of the government to address the issue as a violation of human rights.
There is no justice, people have realized. Of course, the most important thing is people have not forgotten. It's so fresh to them. Even you have interacted with them when you see people. Even when we are doing the anniversaries, people break down. It's so fresh. It happened like 1 hour ago. People will break down. They will even tell us, please don't come back to us. We are tired of this and we don't want to hear anything. We want to know who killed, why our people died.
Chief Bashir, who was arrested and detained for 56 days for trying to inquire about the incident, has over the years continued to keep any form of documentation on the Wagala massacre, newspaper cuttings and books. In his small way, what he hopes will provide evidence when justice is finally served, and much, much more.
I was expecting that in case I keep these documents, and when one of the fine days my problem is solved, that's going to be the healing. So it's a healing process.
I will not say will never, but the struggle is long. Yeah, the struggle is long. One day, I personally feel that we might secure some recognition, some acknowledgement, yeah, but I don't think it's possible to secure a substantive redress at the moment.
The role of the Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission in addressing these injustices is one that has continued to be questioned a couple of months after it was formed under its current chair, Ambassador Bethwell Kiplagat, a man Wagala residents say is incapable of objectively handling the Wagala file.
People don't have confidence. And you know why they don't have confidence? It's because they know that the chair of the TJRC is a person who was part and parcel of the planning process.
On his part, the TJRC chair adamantly distances himself from the massacre, insisting that he was in no way involved at any point while still holding the Foreign Affairs docket.
I've never taken part in any massacre or sat in any committee or any meeting to plan any kind of massacre. In fact, it's to the contrary. That is what I have spent my life for these last more than 30 years trying to stop massacres from taking place. True, I was in Mandera, we were in Mandera, we were in Garissa, we were in Wajir, but you don't go and sit down because we were there 3 days before and this thing happened, therefore you connect. Doesn't make sense.
The military, on their part, remains mum on an issue that has never been discussed from any other point other than that of the Wagala residents.
My dismissal from the government, my detention, I did not talk to publicly before today, honestly. I've been talking of other problems of other people, the people who were killed and the like. But I have not talked even my dismissal, my detention, any publicly before today.
Sources privy to such information leading to the massacre, however, indicate the presence of the dreaded shifter movement in the then northern frontier necessitated security measures. An order from the National Security Council had been issued with the objective of disarming the Dagodia community and force them to either surrender as bandits or provide names of those committing such crimes in the district. An operation that covered the entire Wajir district, including Wajir Bor, Tarbaj, Lehele and Horoh Harar. What was maintained as a necessary operation to restore and foster security in the Somali border.
There is in every operation they have a clear system which they follow. They will sit down, they will plan, they will know who will be leading. This is what I understand. And so when they went out, even for riots, by the way, they don't just do it. It is planned and say, so and so you'll be in charge. You're in charge of this team. This is what you will do. But I doubt, now this is where I find it extremely difficult. No government worth its salt plans to massacre its people. No.
The government, what it did is it killed, it tortured, it raped its own citizens.
What could have happened is something went wrong when they were on the ground. Similarly, even we are getting stories now from Mount Elgon. People are tortured. We are investigating.
Years later, and survivors of the massacre remain unsettled by the happenings of that Friday morning at 4 a.m. that saw thousands of men detained, starved, stripped naked, burnt to death, shot, and women raped and tortured.
Nafikirianga kila wakati. Kumbuka watu yangu.
Watu walikuwa wengi tunagoba kulete. Watu haina nguo, tunabeba na gari pickup.
As far as I know, there was a rift between the two MPs from Dagodia and Wajir and the provincial commissioner because of what happened in Garissa in 1982.
But the worst fear is that those who experienced the atrocity firsthand may not be here to provide evidence when justice is finally served. Many of them said to have either gone insane over time, become disinterested over the years, grown too old or sick from long-time wounds to comprehend the happenings, or worse, died, as is the case of former Wajir West Member of Parliament, the late Ahmed Halif Mohammed, and a Catholic nun, Annalena Tonelli, said to have been instrumental in saving the lives of those found in the bushes alive and burying those found dead here at the Wagala Catholic Rehabilitation Center, where she was eventually buried as well, and she eventually died in 2004.
People are dying. Many have died also. They are not all there. People who have good memory of Wagala case, they are also becoming disinterested. They don't want to hear it. It's not even death. Some don't want to hear it because they see that their situation is not useful to other people. The government is not interested in the circumstances of these people.
But residents here refuse to let the story die just yet, retelling and reliving the atrocities of the never-again used Wagala airstrip by visiting the site ever so often for prayer and healing. Both young and old united in pain and anguish and in a unison plea for justice.
My children, I will just tell them that this is an incident which happened and forget it and swallow it. But still, we say we forgive, but we don't forget.
Evelyn Wambui, KTN, Voices Revealed.